Christie has run amok in Trenton. And we need to have Democrats who will stand up to him. We need Democrats that will stop that agenda. And we have, in Dr. Herb Conway, a very strong member of the Assembly who has stood up to Chris Christie when it's important. And now we have an opportunity to elect Troy Singleton, who I've known from the days when he was a member of the Assembly staff. And he's a fantastic individual who's going to make a great Assemblyman. And Dr. Gail Cook, Mayor of Beverly, who's going to be our state senator.
Chairman, the legislative elections are coming up, and you were involved, obviously, in the redistricting to quite a big extent. The map favors the Democrats. Do you think that you're going to be able to pick up enough seats for a veto-proof majority this year?
Well, obviously, our goal is to be competitive in every legislative district, to increase our numbers from the 47 Democrats we have now. An ideal outcome of this election would be have enough votes to overcome some of the irrational vetoes that this governor has made. And so that's what we're striving for, and that's what our efforts are based on. And that's why we've developed the chairman's team, where 2 weeks ago we were in District 38, today we're in District 7, and we're going to go to as many legislative districts as we can to make sure that ordinary New Jerseyans understand the consequences of Chris Christie to their daily lives in higher property taxes and lost opportunities for this state, to make sure they understand that this election is about changing the course for New Jersey, about having a group of people in the legislature that can stand up, that can say no, and that can keep New Jersey on the right course. If we do not get Democrats elected in this legislature, the prospect of having Chris Christie with a legislature that's compliant, that will be obedient servants to him and not think about the needs of the state is scary. And so we want to make sure that people understand the consequences and the importance of this election, make sure they come out and vote, and make sure they come out and vote for Democrats. I think we have opportunities to pick up seats that we don't currently have, because the Republicans are blindly assuming that because Chris Christie and his national ambitions have temporarily raised his numbers in the poll, that somehow that translates for support for them in legislative races. And as we saw in 2009, despite a change in the front office, people returned Democratic legislators to their office with one exception. And I think that that's also going to be the case this time. Plus the historical trend. Every governor in his midterm election, with one exception, has lost seats. Chris Christie will lose seats in this election.
We see a lot of dissatisfaction and a lot of action being taken now with the Occupy Wall Street and the Occupy Trenton activities and really around the country. What's your take on these, and do you think that the legislators should be getting involved in some of these activities?
Well, the Occupy Wall Street, Occupy Trenton, Occupy just about any state capital, the movement is national. And it underscores a great dissatisfaction that ordinary Americans have about the policies of the last decade, the policies of George Bush, the policies of a Republican Congress, in which doing everything to help the wealthiest 1% of Americans at the expense of 99% of Americans has not worked. As a matter of fact, it has taken our economy off a cliff. It has resulted in unprecedented unemployment and dislocation for millions of Americans. And what they're saying is, we've had enough. We understand that they have taken our economy in the wrong direction, and it's time that we change that direction. And I think that's going to translate also into legislative elections, where those same people who have been occupying Wall Street or occupying Trenton are also going to be talking to their neighbors about the importance of voting for Democrats in the legislative elections.
Okay. This election is November 8th. On November 9th, I think the gubernatorial election will probably start. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that Chris Christie did not run for president because he recognized one thing. To be a successful presidential candidate, you have to be a successful governor. And when the results are in, when people see property taxes continuing to go up, when they see women denied access to health care, when they see public employees denigrated and public education attempting to be dismantled, they'll understand that this governor does not have a record that is worth talking about. It may sound good and it may look good when you're looking at New Jersey from Iowa, but when you're sitting in Beverly or when you're sitting in Atlantic City or Sayreville or Newark, you understand this governor is not running New Jersey for the benefit of New Jersey. He's running New Jersey for the benefit of himself and his political agenda. And I think that starts on November 9th, and I think on January 20th, 2014, we'll be swearing in a Democratic governor.